um, just reviewing what we actually did last week, which was the sixth trumpet in Revelation 9, and that's the second woe is part of the sixth trumpet, and the second woe starts with what? The loosening, when the angels are let loose, right? And the second woe, so the second woe has to end when they are restrained, right? So we understand that the second woe is the 391 years and 15 days, and that ends on
1840.
August 11, 1840. All right. And the reason why the woe was given is so that the Reformation can continue, right? Yeah. So that's so now we'll go to Revelation 10. We'll continue to Revelation 10, but when you go through Revelation 10, you realize that it gives you an introduction. Part of the introduction of the sixth, part of the sixth trumpet is in Revelation 10. So we're not really completely done with the sixth trumpet, okay? Even though we're going to Revelation 10. It's going to be kind of a mixed between the sixth trumpet and the seventh trumpet. All right. Anyway, I'm not sure exactly how I would have done this, but actually we'll just follow what the Bible actually the format in the Bible, and then we will adjust, just saying that where the sixth trumpet ends and the seventh trumpet starts. Okay. All right, let's start. Revelation 10. Okay. Let's see. Revelation 10, verse 7. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. Okay. All right. The first thing that I associate this verse with is, for some reason, and probably a lot of people will actually do the same thing, is associate this verse with another verse, which is 1 Corinthians 15. Behold, I show you a mystery. See, here's the mystery, and here's the mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. Oh, okay, the seventh angel, and the trumpet shall sound. Is this talking about the same thing with this? Is it talking about the same thing? It can't be talking about the same thing. Why? Because in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he begin to sound. No, this cannot be, because this is the end. This is the last trump. So this is actually not something that is associated with this, right? This is talking about two different trumps. This is not the last trump. The last trump here, this is not the seventh angel, and this is the voice of the seventh angel. This is talking about the last trump. So this 1 Corinthians is actually not talking about the seventh angel, right? Yeah, some people may think it may be related. I really don't know. I actually don't know, because I'm not sure what our church believes. This is never actually being preached anymore. I really don't even know what the church believes. Our church believes that it's not important.
Yes. Whatever we're studying.
Well, what we used to what we are actually being taught before. This stuff is not really important anymore. All right. Okay. When he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God shall be finished. Okay, what does finished mean? Finished, the mystery of God should be finished. Finished and the mystery, finished. Dispensation change? Or, yeah. And the seventh angel poured out his vial. Okay, this is the seventh angel too. And there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying what? It is done. Is this one? Is this seventh angel? No, it can't be this seventh angel. Right? Because this is the last seventh plague. This is actually talking about the begin to sound, the mystery. No, this can't be this one. Right? It sounds tempting. Yeah.
Seven angels.
This is why people can be misled, may get confused. Yeah, they think it's all the same, but it's not the same. Right. Because this is the throne. Whose voice is this? This is the Father, right? Saying it is done. Well, that's actually the end. This is the end.
That's really is finished.
It is finished, right? It says it is finished too. Should be finished. But yeah, make sure you're not confused, because I could see why people get confused, right? Right. Okay. All right, what about this? When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, "It is finished."
He's begging for the remission of sin.
Right. Yeah. And he bowed his head and gave up the ghost. Okay. All right. Now we'll find out what is the mystery. Having made known unto us the mystery of his will, according to his good pleasure. We've done this before. Yeah, the mystery of his will, according to his good pleasure, which he hath purposed in himself, that in the dispensation of the fullness time. This is says time, or is it times? Now you understand. This is a deeper meaning. What is the times? In the fullness of times. So there's going to be more than one time. It's going to be the fullness of times. He might gather together in one all things in Christ, the mystery of his will. He might gather. He is going to gather all in Christ. So the mystery of his will is to gather all in Christ, which is Christ in all, at the fullness of times. All right? Okay. Now you know when this is, right? For me, that utterance may be given unto me, Ephesians 6:19, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel. So the mystery of his will and the mystery of his gospel is to gather all in Christ at the fullness of times. Okay. What is the fullness of times? All right. With all praying also for us, that God would open unto us a door of utterance to speak the mystery of Christ. This is the mystery of Christ, the mystery of the gospel, mystery of his will. All right? Romans 11:24-25. For if thou wert cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and went grafted contrary to the nature unto a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be natural branches? See, these are the natural branches, right? The natural branches are the Jews. Yeah. How much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye shall be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel. Now Israel is now blind to this mystery. Until the fullness of the Okay, the fullness of the Gentiles is this fullness of the times. So the times of the Gentiles will be full. When is that? The time of the Gentiles will be full. And there's going to be 2 times of the Gentiles that are going to be full. What are the times of the Gentiles? 25, 20. All right. That's 20 times of the Gentiles is the indignation. It is the what? The time that you are actually being trodden underfoot, right? 25:20. 12:60 is the end. Right? Okay, we'll go into that, okay? Remember, this is the time of the Gentiles is actually 25:20. This is actually oh yeah, we will have a visual. Don't worry about that. But this is all in the Bible first. We gotta prove it from the Bible first, because these are the fullness of the times, and these times is the fullness of the Gentiles. The Gentiles will come in. That's right, the Gentiles will be. But this is actually, it will be, that is going to be the fullness when the 2 sticks will come together. All right. Yeah. Okay. The 25:20s. There's 2 of them. Okay. All right. Right now, we'll just go through what it says in the Bible first, and then we'll show it. Okay. Now to him that is power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Jesus Christ according to the revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret since the world began. So this is the mystery which was kept secret since the world began. Now, according to, I guess, Uriah Smith or something, our pioneers, these Galatians and Romans and all that was written somewhere in 54 AD, 65 AD, right? The Revelation. So this is way back. We're talking about since the world began. Even this was written in that time. So they're really talking about when the world began, right? When the time of the beginning. How that by revelation he made known unto me the mystery, as I wrote afore in few words, knowledge in the mystery of Christ. So the mystery is the mystery of Christ, that the Gentiles should be fellow heirs. So we're talking also, remember, this is when the Gentiles will come in, right? But that's actually when the 2 sticks are joined together, right? And what are those 2 sticks? Those 2 sticks are actually talking about the times of the northern kingdom will be gathered and the southern kingdom will be gathered. And that's will be the scattering and the gathering. The scattering and the gathering. There's going to be 2 sticks, the northern and the southern. They'll be gathering this. So the time of the Gentiles is actually the 25:20s. All right. The beginning of the dispensation, when the time of Gentiles started at the time of the apostles, when Simon Peter started to preach to them. Right? Here you go. We'll show this right now. But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Jesus Christ. The gospel is taught to me by the revelation of Jesus Christ. Okay? Now in Acts, Simeon hath declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people. Now this Galatians 1 verse 11 to 12 is actually Simon Peter. That is referred here as Simeon. Okay? Simon Peter said, but I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it by the revelation of Jesus Christ. So when the disciples started preaching, they were starting to preach right here. They were preaching now to the Gentiles. Right? This is the first time they started preaching to the Gentiles after the Pentecost. Because Peter was the first one that started preaching, right? And then Paul also started, because they were the first preachers to the Gentiles. Because before that time, it was especially for the Jews. So now it's being preached to the Gentiles. And the mystery is that the Gentiles shall also be fellow heirs. And it was first preached by Simon. This is Simon Peter, talking about Simon Peter. Here he's actually saying in Galatians, the gospel is given to me. This is the revelation of Jesus Christ. The gospel, the mystery, is that the Gentiles will be fellow heirs. All right.
He's saying Galatians. Is Galatians quoting Peter or is that Paul?
It's actually quoting Peter. This is the words of Peter. All right. And Simon Peter had declared God at first. This is when he first declared God at first in Galatians. At first did visit and to visit the Gentiles, to take out of them a people. So now there's going to be a people that is from the Gentiles. They're going to start preaching to the Gentiles. But the time of the Gentiles will end. Right? Okay. Even the mystery, which has been hid from ages and from generations, and now is made manifest to his saints, to whom God would make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles. See, the mystery among the Gentiles is Christ in you. So now the mystery is actually that it is Christ in you, right? That Christ can be in you, in both Jews and Gentiles. That's the mystery. Before it was only for the Jews thought it was just for them. They were blinded to that fact. But the mystery is now that is the incarnation of Christ is the mystery. That Christ can also be incarnated in the Gentiles, and the Gentiles can be fellow heirs. And this is what Peter was starting to preach in 54 AD, in the 60 AD.
I don't see Peter in Galatians.
Yeah, the what here, when you actually go back and Acts 15, you go back. Yeah, I guess the Galatians is actually Paul, right? But when you go back to Acts 15 verse 14, and you go back several verses, you will see that it was Peter that was talking. And then it says, Simon has declared God at first. Go back to Acts 15. And go back to Acts 15. Galatians is actually Paul. Paul was talking that the gospel is now to be preached unto the Gentiles.
Yeah, he's defending it.
Right, he's defending it. But when you go to Acts 15 and go earlier before verse 14, it's actually Peter that first said.
Right, because he had his vision of the
Yeah,
unclean and clean.
right.
Whatever.
And then in 15 verse 14, now it is said that Simon had declared how God at first did visit the Gentiles to take them out of people for his name, right?
That was Cornelius.
Yeah, this is talking about that time, right?
Paul,
So,
though, is talking to the church that he had already started
yeah.
and telling them that,
Yeah.
because he was answering all their
Mm-hmm.
accusations and
Yeah, but the mystery is that it is going to be for the Gentiles, and the first taught by Peter, right? But I guess Galatians is actually Paul defending Peter.
well, this is Paul defending himself.
Yeah, defending that the fact that the gospel needs to be preached to the Gentiles.
Right, and that just because he wasn't a apostle from Jerusalem, he
Mhm.
wasn't taught by the other disciples, he was taught directly from the revelation of Jesus.
That's right. Yeah, because he was on the way to Damascus when he saw Jesus.
Right.
So I did see Jesus.
So the Judaizers had come in and stirred the pot and said, well, he's not even from Jerusalem, he's not even of the original 12.
That's right. Right. So this is when he actually defends that he has the gospel needs to be preached to the Gentiles. in Galatians. But in Acts 15 here it says that Simeon was the first, at first did preach to the Gentiles. And it, yeah. So at that time it's around AD 54 to around AD 65, something like that, when they started preaching to the Gentiles. And the time of the Gentiles will actually end. There is going to be an end to the time of the Gentiles, which is the end of the 2520, so to speak. Yeah. Okay. And the mystery is Christ in you. Right. Christ in you. The incarnation of Christ in you is the mystery. Okay. When is that? Okay, manuscripts 24, 1888. The standard by which to measure character is the royal law. The law is the sin detector. By the law is the knowledge of sin, but the sinner is constantly being drawn to Christ by the wonderful manifestation of his love, in that he humiliated himself to die a shameful death upon the cross. Okay. Angels have striven, earnestly longed to look at the wonderful mystery. Oh, even angels. This is what we studied. It is the study that can tax the highest human intelligence, that man, fallen, deceived by Satan, taking Satan's side of the question, can be conformed to the image of the Son of the infinite God. This is what we just read. That man shall be like him, that because of the righteousness of Christ given to man, God will love man, fallen by redeemed, even as he loved his Son. Read it right out of the living oracles. This is the mystery of godliness. That you can actually have the character of Christ. It is Christ incarnated in you, right? This is the mystery of godliness. And that the Gentiles can have that too, it is actually accomplished. That is the mystery, right? Because the Jew says, well, it's because we have the chromosome. Right? Christ is in us. We have the chromosome, right? But now the mystery is actually in the Gentiles, and it's first preached by Peter.
That honor and privilege of having that chromosome turned out to be one of the biggest things that took them down.
They were blinded.
Yes.
It blinded them, right?
And pride.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow. The same as, Isaac and Ishmael.
Yeah.
Because God promised Abraham that he's going to bless his seed. So even if Ishmael promised,
Right. He's still blessed.
yeah, he's still blessed.
Right. The Gentiles are still blessed. Yeah. A Gentile will be blessed. By beholding, man can but admire and become more attracted to him, more charmed and more desirous to be like Jesus, until he assimilates to his image and has the mind of Christ. Like Enoch, he walks with God, and his mind is full of thoughts of Jesus. He is his best friend. So that's the mystery of godliness. All right? All right. So the mystery of godliness is Christ in you, the Jew and the Gentile. Okay, now we go to Revelation 10, verse 8 to 10. And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again and said, Go and take the little book which is open in the hand of angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. And went unto the angel and said to him, Give me the little book. And he said to me, Take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter. But it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. This is the angel of Revelation 10, right? Came down and had a little book in his hand and gave it to John. And then John says, Give me the little book. And he says, Take the little book, eat it up, and it'll make your belly bitter. Right? According to Ellen White, when you actually read, you go back in Revelation 10, and the first verses there, you realize that angel is actually Jesus. And it's confirmed by a spirit of prophecy, right? In the Bible Commentary, Volume 7, page 971. That angel of Revelation 10:1 is none other than Jesus. All right? He came down, and in our studies, he came down and empowered the first angel's message on August 11, 1840. Right? That's when he empowered it. The message was the year-day principle. Islam is restrained again, and that's the message. The little book, all right. Yeah, this is just we can't go through all of this. We've studied this already before, right? You have to eat up the little book. It'll make your mouth sweet, and then your belly will be bitter. Okay. Now, Jeremiah 15, verse 16. Thy words were found, and I did eat them. And thy word was unto me joy and rejoicing of mine heart, for I am called by thy name. So when you eat the word, which is the book, right, it will be joy and rejoicing in your heart. Okay? Ellen White says, the comprehension of truth, the glad reception, right, the joy and rejoicing, the comprehension and the glad reception of the message is represented in the eating of the little book.
That's what I did when he showed me Sabbath truth.
See, the joy and rejoicing in your heart, it is the comprehension and the glad reception. So Ellen White is basically pointing to this, Jeremiah 15:16. This is what she's talking about. Okay? The book that was sealed was not the book of Revelation, but the portion of the prophecy of Daniel which related to the last days, the part that has not been fulfilled yet. So that's Daniel 11, verse 40 to 45, because at that time that has not been fulfilled yet. So that was the little book. That was sealed and then unsealed to be at the end of time, which is the time of the end, which is 1798. That's when they started studying it. And then it only was revealed again in that time of the end again in 1989, when they start studying it again. Okay. And the fear of the Lord is clean. Psalms 19, verse 9 to 10. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also. So the judgments of the Lord are sweet, right? Yeah, that's right. More to be desired. So the judgments of the Lord. So when you receive the word and it's sweet to you because you like the judgments of the Lord, it is sweet to you. See the judgment, I have not departed from thy judgments, for thou hast taught me how sweet are thy words. Your words and your judgments are sweet to me, right? Because I am ready for my judgment. Okay, now we go to Ezekiel 3. This is where you actually find another witness trying to show you what it means to eat the little book. Yeah, you go to Ezekiel 3, verse 1 to 7 and 11 and 14. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll. Because at the time, yeah, it's a scroll, right? It's not a book that you, yeah. It's not, no. It's a, eat this roll and go speak unto the house of Israel. So when you actually eat the roll, what do you have to do? Go to the house of Israel. House of Israel, right? Specifically house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill the bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as sweet as sweetness. So when I ate it, it was very sweet. Because what? I understood it. And I have the judgment to me. I understand that the judgment is coming, and to me it was sweet. And he said unto me, Son of man, go, get thee into the house of Israel. Now, go to the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. For thou art not sent to a people of strange speech or of hard language, but to the house of Israel. Right? Go to God's people.
And speak with his words.
That's the bitter start coming.
Yeah. Not to many people of strange speech on a hard language whose word thou canst not understand, not to out the people outside. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. And go, get thee to them of the captivity unto the children of thy people. Because they were all in captivity. Remember, Ezekiel was in captive in Babylon, right? Because Jeremiah stayed back, and Ezekiel was there together with Daniel, right? And speak unto them and tell them, thus saith the Lord God, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. So the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went in bitterness in the heat of my spirit, but the hand of the Lord was strong upon me. All right. He didn't want to go.
Whether Ezekiel has to go back to Israelites that left behind, or
No, I guess this,
Israel in Babylon.
yeah, speak to the Israel which is in Babylon. Because when he went and saw the sanctuary, remember in Ezekiel 8 and 9, he was actually carried in spirit. Right. Yeah, he did not go to Jerusalem literally. He went in spirit. Right. So he were told to go to the people that was in captivity right there. Right. But they would not hear him. And he went in bitterness because he knew that they were not going to listen him. That's why he went in bitterness. That's why it's bitter. So when you actually eat that little book, it becomes sweetness to you because you're happy for the judgment that's going to come. Oh, I'm happy with this judgment that's going to come. But it's going to be bitter because you're supposed to go to God's people, but they don't want to listen, so it's bitter to you, right? This is what we're experiencing. Yeah, and this is what we're actually experiencing now. Jeremiah 6, verse 10 and 11. To whom shall I speak and give warning, that they may hear? Behold, their ear is uncircumcised, and they cannot hearken. Behold, the word of the Lord is unto them a reproach. They had no delight in it. Therefore I am full of fury of the Lord. I'm angry and I'm bitter, because they will not hear. I am weary with holding in. I will pour it out upon the children abroad and upon the assembly of young men together, for even the husband with the wife shall be taken, the age with him that is full of days. They will not listen, so I am full of the fear of the Lord. Wow. So this is what it means to be that it's bitter in your stomach, because you are supposed to take this understanding, this message, to God's people when you eat the little book, but they will not hear it, right? Numbers 20, verse 7 to 10. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the rod and gather thou the assembly. Oh, this is the story at Marah, Exodus, right, at the water. Gather thou the assembly together, thou Aaron. And you're supposed to speak to the rock, right? But what did he do? In anger, he actually hit the rock because they did not listen to him, right? It was bitter. And Mara means bitter, right? And this is, the waters of Mara was bitter. But this is actually at Meribah here. The children of Israel strove with the Lord. They did not want to listen. This is at Meribah because at Mara the waters were bitter, and at Meribah the children did not want to listen. That's why it's bitter. Okay, now Revelation 10 verse 11. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again. See, there you go. So you must prophesy. You eat the little book, it is going to be what? It's going to be sweet, but then it'll be bitter, but you have to prophesy,
Now second time.
right?
The Gentiles.
That you must prophesy again before many people, nation, tongue, and kings, right? So we'll see that. Where is it? People, nation, tongues, and kings. People, multitudes, nations, and tongues. Revelation 7. The waters which thou sawest. First you have to go to my people, then eventually you will have to go to the world, right? And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven. What do you give them? What is this? Revelation 14, verse 6. The nation that you give to the nation, kindred, tongue, and people, that the judgment is come, right? The first angel's message. But to us, the first angel's message is sweet, right? You have to give the judgment message. And that judgment message to you is sweet, right? That's the first angel's message. You gave to the nation, kindred, tongues, and people, right? You have to give it. The judgment, that your judgment is near. Okay. So it's talking about giving the first angel's message.
So there's this other thing, going back to that verse, 14, 6, and 7. They say that it's God's judgment. That God is being judged. What is that? There's some kind of a confusing message out there.
The hour of his judgment.
Yeah, between saying
The hour of his judgment is come. Yeah. Yeah.
his judgment on
Yeah.
him being judged. I'm like, what?
Oh, no, yeah.
Him judging.
Yeah.
Well, but that means you don't have to worry. You know what I'm saying? That's that new theology that's come in the church now. So it's God proving his character and Satan is being disproved, etc.
Yeah, it is your judgment. Yeah. God is judging you now. Okay. All right. So now that's basically the seventh trumpet. Yeah. Now we have to put it all together and find out when does the seventh trumpet start. But it's doing it the long way. All right. I'm just doing this because I just want to go over Revelation 10, the end part of Revelation 10, and also go to Revelation 11 here. Revelation 11, verse 1. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Arise, and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. There's so many meanings in here. This is heavy laden with meaning. All right, we can't just... Okay, so is this talking about the temple of... But we are the temple of God. So is it... They're giving me a reed. A reed is to measure. Okay, so what is it talking about? The temple. Which temple is to be measured? You measure the temple, you measure the altar, and them that worship therein with a reed. A reed must be the measuring stick that you use to measure. Okay? All right. Okay. What do you actually measure? And I lifted mine eyes again and looked, and behold, a man with a measuring line in his hand. Then said I, Whither goest thou? And he said to me, To measure Jerusalem. Right. So are you measuring? What are you measuring now? You are measuring the people? It says actually you have to be measuring the temple in heaven. But how are you going to measure the temple of heaven? Well, there's a copy of the temple of heaven on earth, right? No, the temple that Moses built, right, in the tabernacle in the wilderness, right? Okay. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure shall be measured. So measuring is actually judging. See, this is the judgment. They're talking about the judgment now, right? This is what the judgment that is sweet. It's talking about judgment. 2 Corinthians. For we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they measure themselves by themselves, and compare themselves among themselves. Now, and you cannot measure yourself with another person. It says, oh, you know what? I'm actually okay because compared to him, you can't measure somebody with another person, right? You cannot compare yourself with or measure yourself with another person. But we will not boast of things without our measure, but according to the measure of the rule which God has distributed us, a measure to reach even unto you. So you measure against, you have to measure yourself against the temple of God, because you are the temple of God. How do you know that you're perfect? Because you measure yourself against the temple of God, right? So measuring the temple is so to you know what standard you are measuring yourself up against. Because you are the temple of God, then you have to measure yourself to the temple of God. Okay. Yeah, no. Not to other people. So you have to compare yourself to the temple of God. Okay. And let them make me a sanctuary. So the sanctuary is the dwelling place. Exodus 25 verse 8. Hebrews 8:5. And who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things. As Moses was admonished of God when he was about to make the tabernacle, 4. See, saith he, that thou make all things according to the pattern. So if you want to be the temple of God, you have to measure yourself against the temple of God in heaven, which is the pattern of the earthly temple. Okay, so we get, all right. So now this is where we're trying to get at. And what agreement had the temple of God with idols? Ye are the temple of the living God. I dwell in them and walk in them, because I dwell. Okay, so now we actually have to look at the temple. Sermons and talks. The grand judgment is taking place and has been going on for some time. Now the Lord says, measure the temple and the worshippers thereof. Now she's quoting, right? She's quoting the verse, right? Measure the temple and the worshippers thereof. Remember, when you are walking the streets about your business, God is measuring you. See, because you're the temple, all right? When you are attending your household duties, when you engage in conversation, God is measuring you. Remember that your words and actions are being daguerreotyped, which is photographed. They already invented the photograph in the time of Ellen White. In the books of heaven, as the face is reproduced by the artist on the polished plate. Review and Herald. I have been deeply impressed with the importance of studying the book of Daniel in connection with smaller prophets, especially Malachi. And we need to give careful attention also to the lessons taught in the building of the tabernacle and the temple. So measuring the temple needs to be done literally, because there's something in the building, in the actual building and the temple service, right? Through the prophets, God has given a delineation of what will come to pass in the last days of this earth history, and the Jewish economy is full of instruction for this. So you actually have to look at the building and the tabernacle and the temple service, and when you study all of that, you will understand there is instruction for you in the end time. All right?
And we had a pastor say, we don't need to study the temple or the sanctuary. We have the reality of Christ.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's going completely contradictory to what Ellen White just said. The Jewish economy, the actual building, the temple, and the services of it has instructions for us. All right? Because it is true that Jesus is the temple. You're looking at Jesus, right? But actually going and looking at all those little details actually has instruction for you.
And we don't dismiss.
Yeah. And this is why when you actually look at the book of Leviticus, why was it all written down in so minutia, such minutia detail. Why is it written down in so many chapters? All the minutia of the details. Because why? It's perfect. And in that perfection, when you look at that perfection, you will actually understand how perfect you have to be. Okay, now you can download this stuff, which, actually counting the boards and counting how wide everything is, and all of this was done by the Millerites. They actually did it. And then Uriah Smith and Stephen Haskell and all that, they actually had books on how, the tabernacle and the sanctuary, because they were the ones that actually write it. At the end of 2300 days, the sanctuary will be righted, right? The understanding of the sanctuary was given to the Millerites, right? And because of that, they really studied the book of Leviticus and all the minutiae of all the details. And they actually, so we'll go into a little bit. You can actually download. I happened to look at it, and I downloaded one that was from Prophecy Helps 101. You can actually go there and then actually look at the measurement of the tabernacle. 170 pages worth of it. It was just overwhelming. Wow, all of this. It was just incredible. I couldn't believe it. There was so much minutia. Yeah, but you think that is none of it is important? Boy, God put it in the Bible for a reason. All right? I'm just going to go a little bit of it. Okay, here we go. Exodus 27, verse 14 to 18. The hangings of one side of the gate shall be 15 cubits. All right? Okay, this is the tabernacle, right? The most holy place right there. And this is the holy place. And this is the courtyard. And this is the sanctuary. All right? The whole thing is the sanctuary. This is the tabernacle. All right? All right? And it says, the hangings of the one side of the gate shall be 50. Okay, here's the gate. The gate is on the east side, right? I made it in red, so you made it very easy. There's only one side. There's the gate. The hangings on one side of the gate shall be 15 cubits. Okay, there's 15 cubits. The pillars 3. Okay, I had fun doing this. All right? So make it easy for you to see, okay? There's 3 pillars and 15 cubits. You see that? And their sockets 3. And on the other side should be hangings 15 cubits too. All right, there's 15 cubits there. How much is a cubit? It's not very accurate. All right. Yeah, 18, somewhere between 17 and a half, 18, 20, 22 and a half, 21 and a half. So many people have different ways of counting it. All right? Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, so there's 15. On other side shall be hangings 15 cubits. And their pillars 3. So there's 3 pillars right there. Right? And for the gate of the court shall be hanging of 20 cubits. Okay, there's 20 cubits right there. There's going to be hangings, like curtains. It's 20 cubits long. All right. Purple, blue, scarlet, fine twined linen, wrought with needlework, and their pillars shall be 4. Okay, there'll be 4 pillars. All right, there you go. Okay, we're going to do this. This is all so detailed, okay? And their sockets 4. And the pillars round about the court shall be filled with silver, and their hooks shall be silver, and sockets of brass. The length of court shall be 100 cubits. Okay, the length of the court is 100 cubits. All right? And the breadth 50. Okay, 100 up here, 100 down here. And the breadth is 50. Okay? All right? So you get all this, right? Okay. Everywhere. And the height 5 cubits. Okay, the height is 5. I didn't do it in 3D. Oh boy, yeah, it'll take me a long time to do that. All right, another level. Okay, all right. Okay. So the north is 100 cubits, right? The south is 100 cubits, right? The west is 50. Oh, we haven't lost you, right? No. All right. Okay. All right. All right. The east is what? East is 2 times 15. Right. Which is 30. Right. This is just the. Right. Right. And the total is 280 because not including because this is open. The gate is open. Right. Just the hangings of the enclosed, right, is 280 cubits, right? So the courtyard hangings is 280 cubits times 18. Now, if you take 18 inches, what happened is the pioneers, they used 18 inches. The thing about it is, you realize that this has to be done in inches because you can't use metric system to actually found it. And this is why it was given to the Millerites in America, because they didn't use metric system. They used 18 inches. And when you use 18 inches, you will get that it is 50/40. 280 times 18 is 5,040, which is actually 2 25/20s. There's 2 25/20s. All right? You get it? Huh? Children, did you get it? Yeah. Right? Very easy, right? Yeah. So the courtyard, this part, is actually 2 25/20s because there's 280 cubits times 18 inches is 5,040 inches, which is 2 times 25/20, right? So there's 25/20s hidden in the sanctuary. Mm-hmm. There's 2 25/20s. Okay, the courtyard gate hangings. Okay, this is the gate. This is 20 cubits times 18 inches is 360. What is 360? 1 year. 360 is very important. That's the day-year principle. All right. Day-year principle. Okay. We'll keep going on. Exodus 27, verse 9 to 12. All right. I won't read the whole thing, but we got this from the last time. Okay. There's 3 pillars here, right? There's 4 pillars here. I won't draw it again. But anyway, there's 4 pillars here. But it's 100 cubits here and 100 cubits here, right? And over here is going to be 20 in the south. Okay, 20 here, 20 pillars, and 20 on the north, all right? And on the west side will be 10. 20, 20, 10, okay. North is 20, south is 20, west is 10, east is 10, right? There's 3, 4, 3, 10. Total 60 courtyard pillars, all right? 60 courtyard pillars. Okay, big deal. What does that mean? We got to keep going. And thou shalt make a veil of blue. Okay, now you have to make a veil. And on those veil, you have to hang it from pillars also. There's going to be a veil here to the most holy place. And there's a veil here, right? To the holy place, right? Because you hang those veils on pillars, right? How many pillars? 4 pillars of shittim wood. Okay, there's 4 pillars right here to the most holy place, and there's 5 pillars here to the holy place, most holy. Okay. So you have 60 courtyard pillars, 60 right here, plus 4 to the most holy veil, and the holy place, there's 5 pillars. So you have total, you have 69 pillars. What does that mean? There you go. 69 weeks. All right? 69 weeks. Do you know why? Okay, when at the tabernacle, what descends down? The pillar of cloud. So who's the 70th pillar? Christ is the 70th pillar. Do you see the 70th pillar? I'll show you the 70th. No, this is the cloud. This is the pillar, right? There's 69 pillars here, and this is the 70th pillar. This is the 70th pillar. Do you see this pillar? This is the 70th week. Jesus died in the middle of the 70th week, right? Right? And 3.5 on one side. That's when he was his ministry to the Jews and his disciples, 3.5. To be perfect, it's a cooperation of Jesus and his disciples, right? Yeah. Samuel Bekioki says, well, Jesus' ministration to the Jews is only half perfect. Oh boy. He is Jesuit. You know what? To be perfect, it's a cooperation of Jesus and the disciples, right? Yeah. All right. So 3.5 on one side and 3.5 on the other side. What is this? 1 week, 7 days. Right. 7 days. 7 days is 25-20 days. This is the 25-20. Right in the middle of 25-20, Jesus died. 1260 on this side, 1260 on this side. Right in the middle of the 70th week. Jesus is the 70th pillar. You see that? Yeah, that's right. 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 It's in Daniel 9 verse 27, right? Jesus, he dies right in the middle of the 70th week. And he dies right in the middle of the 25-20 days. Right in the middle of this week. 25-20 is right all in the lessons of the sanctuary and tabernacle.
The Jews still complain, murmuring.
You didn't realize that in the desert, during the daytime it's so hot, you need a cloud over them to make them cooler. At night it's so cold at night too.
But I think they took it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, I didn't happen to, last night I happened to look for Jeff Whittinger. And anyway, I Googled it and I went to the Adventist online and they were talking about Jeff Whittinger Adventist online and they were like, you know, she knew about 25-20 and all that and parallelism and all that. Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know that you can find it all in the tabernacle. That's why you have to study the tabernacle. That's why people nowadays say you don't have to study the tabernacle. We need to bypass all that stuff. Oh yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Desire of Ages. For 7 years after the Savior entered on his ministry, the gospel was to be preached especially to the Jews. For 3.5 years by Christ himself, and afterward by the apostles. This is Jesus' part. This is the disciples' part. All right. Okay. Now, you know, I added something else here, just to see. You know, this will not work if you use the metric system. right? It's not going to work without the metric system. If you want to count this, so what's wrong with the metric system? Isn't it a good method? So I said, you know what? This is why the truth was given to the Millerites, because they weren't using the metric system in that days. Right. They used the English system, inches. Use inches, because you have to calculate using inches.
We're the only ones that are using. Yeah, centimeters. Only the Americans are only using the English. The rest of the world is using.
Yeah, we use the inches and the miles and all that. Yeah. The English system, I guess.
The world is using metric. America, only country in the whole, is using the English.
It's still using it, although it's trying to change it, you know. Okay, all right. So who invented the metric system then? Right. Our modern numbers are, you know, I got this from Metrication Matters. The modern numbers are sometimes called Indian or Arabic numbers because Arab scholars learn of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, and 0 from the Indian people through the work of Al-Khwarizmi. Right. And then the English bishop, John Wilkins, actually first described the metric system and said that, well, we should use the metric system in 1614 and 1672. All right? The decimal metric system. So he says, well, you know, we are using so many different ways of calculating it. In one town, it's actually this long. In another town, is this long. In another town, is this long. Wait a minute, we can't, you know, how are we going to calculate the land when we sell land? And it's all going to be all confusion. So we have to have one way of actually doing it. Okay. So who actually legislated their country to use the metric system the first time? No, it's actually the French. Actually, during the French Revolution. This is how actually, you know, all right? Charles Maurice de Talleyrand Périgord, the foremost members of the French National Assembly, introduced the subject and launched a debate on measurement. His report to the Assembly included detailed analysis, French weights and measures. All right. He proposed to it, and then it was approved by Louis the 16th. You remember who Louis the 16th is? With his wife, Marie Antoinette, who was off with the head. Oh no, off with the head is actually Mary. Let him eat cake. And they were actually cut with the guillotine right in the middle of Paris. Right. During the French Revolution. So they instituted the metric system, the French. This is why this cannot be given in Europe. This understanding had to be given, you know, because because it was the French. And just so happens that Revelation 10 talks about the French Revolution. They actually, the one that instituted the SI system, System International, SI, right? And now it's going to be for the whole world. No, SI. SI is the metric system, everything metric, you know, kilogram, the weight, and volume is using liters. Yeah, liters and kilograms and meters, right? Right. This is actually human. Right. Human invention. And Stephen, right? Yeah. But to actually be able to use all of this, you use qubits. And then when you use qubits, you know, that's actually God's way of actually teaching you using qubits. But it doesn't work when you try to use metric. Even though metric system is so intuitive, it actually works so much better in multiple things. But when you want to understand the measurements of the tabernacle and all that, it doesn't work if you use it. Okay, well, we'll do a couple more, all right? Exodus 26, verse 16. Okay, this is interesting too. Well, I had fun doing this. 10 cubits shall be the length. Now, this is actually the most holy place, and this is the holy place. Okay? They actually had boards. It was made by these boards, okay? And all boards were standing up, all right? All right. And in the front, there will be 5 pillars, and there would be hangings on the pillars. So it's basically just an empty space right there. All right, and the veil will be here. Okay, well, let's read it. 10 cubits shall be the length of a board, and a cubit and a half shall be the breadth of one board. Okay, 10. This is one board, okay? And 1.5 will be the breadth of it, the length of it. Okay, this is one board. And one board will be stood up right here. Okay. And thou shalt make the boards for the tabernacle, 20 on the south side. All right. 20 standing here. 20 on the north. Okay. 6 on the west. And this is the interesting one right here. Oh, I gotta make this smaller because people cannot see this. All right, I'll move this here. And 2 boards shall thou make for the corners of the tabernacle in the 2 sides. A lot of people have a problem with this one. They don't know where to put these 2 boards, right? It's in somehow. Some people put it on the outside. Well, it can't be on the outside because the Bible says specifically it's in the 2 sides. In the 2 sides, or here the 2 sides. So it's got to be somewhere here or here. We actually put it here because it makes so much sense if it's put right here. Right. It makes so much sense because this will actually help steady it, and it actually support the 4 pillars. There'll be 4 pillars, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then 5 pillars over here. There's going to be, all right. So from there, stabilizes the wall, and actually be a partition too. 20 on the north, 20 in the south, 6 on the west. So on the outside there's 46, right? 46 on the outside and 2 on the inside, correct? Right? Yeah, we got this. Total 48. Okay, Uncle Pete. You're the engineer, okay? All right, what does this mean? There's a meaning to this now. All right, there's a meaning to this now. The meaning is actually quite amazing, actually, when I saw this. The perimeter is 23 cubits. Perimeter is 23 cubits. The 2 inside boards is right. The outside. The outside 23 cubits. Okay, where did I get this 23? The inside is 46. The 2 inside boards is 40. Okay, here you go. All right. The perimeter of this board here, okay, the perimeter of this board, even this board, you count the perimeter of this board, the edges. This is 10, 1.5, 3, okay? So the perimeter of this board is 23. You get this? All right? And the perimeter of the 2 inside boards, will be, right, 46. 2 and 23 will be 46, right? Okay? You get that? Right, 46. So the 2 inside boards perimeter is 46. Okay. I say, big deal. So what? What does this mean? All right, 48 in the Bible. Are there 48? Where's the 48? And among the cities which ye shall give unto the Levites, there shall be 6 cities for refuge, which shall appoint for the manslayer, that he may flee thither. So when you kill somebody, you can go hide out in the 6 cities of refuge. Oh, yeah. When you murder somebody, you can go run there and hide. Wow, I didn't know that.
California has a city of refuge. Because the guy that killed somebody with a wife, they couldn't because they claimed to be in the city of refuge. This was one of those the Dawn couple.
Yeah.
It was in the news. Like
Wow.
I said, hey, that's biblical. City of refuge are legal.
Right. And then ye shall appoint men, and to them ye shall add 42 cities, and all the cities ye shall give to the Levites shall be 48 cities. Right, so those 48 boards also represents those 48 cities for the Levites, because the Levites have no place. They don't have any cities, right? They don't have any land, right? And the Levites are the ones that work and carry all these things. So they are given the 48. Right. Yeah, they have no riches. Okay. What about 46? And Moses went up to the mount, and a cloud covered the mount, and the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And on the 7th day he called up Moses, and he went into the midst, right? And he went into the midst of the cloud and got them up into the mount, and Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. He was in the cloud for 40 days and 40 nights, but he was on the mount for 6 days prayer. So he was actually 48 days. 48 days. John 2 verse 20. Then said the Jews, 46 years was this temple in building, and wilt thou rear it up for 3 days? Oh, okay. Building of the temple was 46 years. Okay, so here it's the 46, 48, right? Okay, now what does this mean? Now we concentrate on these 2 boards right here. The one that has 46, right? The perimeter is in total 46. And they're surrounded by 46 boards, right? On the outside are 46, and the inside are 2. And these 2 boards, total perimeter is 46 cubits, right? Right? The inside. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God? And we know this. And that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. And if any man defile the temple of God, him shall... Okay, Auntie Maria, she's already got it. Auntie Maria got it already. And him shall God destroy. The temple of God is holy. Do you know? Do you see the 46? Do you see the 46? Do you see the 4? Archie, you're staring. Where's the 46? You are the temple of God. The temple of God of you is holy. Do you see the 46? You don't see it? You don't see it? Here you go. Here's the word have I hid in my heart. The word. Yeah, that's true too, but also here, 4 and 6, the word have I hid in my heart. Right? Yeah, but the chromosomes is also there too. Because there's a 46 inside of you. The 4 and the 6 in you, you are the temple of God. Where is this actually in the most holy place, right? The 4 and the 6 is actually in the holy place. The word have I hid in my heart. The word, okay, but also, this is also what? The 46 is also your genes. Yeah, 46.
There's three,
Yeah.
there's one more.
One more.
The two boards. Come on, guys. One more. In
One
the
more.
most holy place. The two boards. What is it? The Father and the Son. So that's what I said. I said, oh, the Father and the Son, 12 commandments and your chromosomes. That's why I said, oh,
10 commandments.
10 commandments. 10 commandments. 10 commandments. 6 and 4. So I said, ooh.
Mm-hmm. 46. Yeah. I had fun doing this. Yeah. Hmm?
By yourself, exactly.
No, actually just copy and paste from. There's a lot of these pictures here.
No, I was wondering, like, did you figure it out, like, not understanding?
Oh, did I figure it out?
Even though there's 6 chromosomes.
No, actually, it's a lot of people actually done this, and what? Okay, the 46. So your chromosomes have to be what? You yourself have to be holy. Yeah, and the word of God is in you. That's 46. Is in you actually. Anyway.
46 represent chromosome.
And the 4 and 6 is the 10 commandments. Yeah, 10 commandments. 4 plus 6, right? The two tables. The two, but 4 is for God, 6 is for man, right? Okay, all right.
That's neat, Rob.
That's pretty cool.
That's yeah, and it's all hidden in the sanctuary. Do we need to know the sanctuary and all the numbers that are actually the minutia of all that? You actually from studying this, and Uriah Smith already had all these perimeters. He had to print it in a book. Uriah Smith. In the old days, they already knew all this stuff. They already figured it out. We just need to go back and read that. We're so blind.
Nobody talked to me about these.
And Stephen Haskell, the sanctuary and all that. Oh, so detailed about the what?
Yeah, the
Mhm.
cross and its shadow.
Mhm.
The Nolan doctrines, those are all in the past. You do not to learn about it.
Oh boy. When you see this, this is not a coincidence. It's not put there just to fill in the pages, just to make the Bible a little thicker. No. Okay. We have to measure the temple and also measure the altar. What about the altar? Okay. So how are you on time? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. All right. And they shall make an altar of shittim wood. Now this is the brazen altar, right? Okay, this is all the altar. But we're just gonna go look at the altar. When you disassemble this altar here, it's actually a hollow. It's hollow, right? The middle is hollow, and it has a kind of like a grate, so that what will fall down when you, right, will fall through, right? The ashes will fall through, right? But this is actually has 4 pieces, okay, or equal 4 rectangles, and it's 5 cubits long, 5 cubits board here, 5, and the height shall be 3. So if it's 5 by 5 by 3, you will have one of these sides will be 5 by 3, correct? And you have 4 of these. Okay, let's measure this. Let's measure the perimeter of this. The perimeter is how much? Okay, children. It's got to be 5, 10, 13, 16. 16. The perimeter is actually 64 cubits. All right. I actually count, you can actually convert that to inches, but we're not going to do that yet. All right. we know that this is 64 cubits. All right? That's the perimeter of each of this side. Okay, 64 cubits. Just remember that. We'll get back to that later. Okay, just so happens, talking about the altar here, this was the dedication of the altar. In the day when it was anointed by the princes of Israel, 12 chargers of silver, 12 silver bowls, 12 spoons of gold, each chargers weighing 130 shekels, each bowl 70. All the silver vessels weighed 2,400 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. The golden spoons were 12 incense full of incense, weighing 10 shekels apiece, and the shekel of the sanctuary. All the spoons of gold was 120 shekels. Boy, Kathy, you're so quick.
I'm starting to see.
You're starting to see, huh? 2,400 shekels of silver plus 120 shekels of gold is 20 shekels of gold and silver vessels. It's hidden. It's hidden there. All this you think is minutia?
Well, it's a hard to network. Those are those days.
Okay, Exodus 30, verse 1 and 2. Thou shalt make an altar. Oh, okay, here's another altar. Okay, this altar is the altar of incense in the holy place. In the holy place. All right, well, they put the incense and, we'll pray in the holy place. Right in front of the most holy place veil. Right. Okay, and it is a cubit. A cubit shall be the length, and a cubit shall be the breadth. So a cubit by a cubit on the top, right? Cubit by a cubit, and 2 cubits shall be the height. It's actually not very high. It's actually very small. It's only about this. It's about this big.
Around 36 inches.
Yeah, it's actually very small.
That's a regular table we have. Counter 36 inches high.
So if you see, the top is 1 by 1, and there's 2 of them, because there's a top and there's a bottom. All right? There's 2 of these, 1 by 1, okay? And this is the sides, 1 by 2, correct? And there's 4 of these. All right? Yeah, you gotta be detailed. God is very detailed, so you gotta be detailed too. The perimeter of the tops, the top and bottom, is how much? 4 times 2 is 8 cubits, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 times 2 is 8 cubits, right? What about the perimeter of the bottom? Okay, can you beat me to this, RC? Sideboards. 6, 1, 2, 6, right? This is 6 times 4 is 24 cubits. So the total perimeter is 32, right? 8 plus 24 is 32. Okay, 32, and remember the other one was 64. Okay. Now you go to the other altar, the altar of covenant. Right. The Ark of the Covenant, the Ark of the Covenant. Is 2 cubits and a half shall be the length. 2 cubits and okay, we'll just all right. These are the 2 cubits and a half, a cubit and a half the breadth. So I should have had one from the side, but this is 2 and a half, 1 and a half the breadth, and a cubit and a half the height. Okay, so this is the end boards. This is the end boards right here. It'll be 1 and a half by 1 and a half, correct? And there'll be 2 of them. 1 on this side, 1 on this side, correct? All right. And then the top, which is this is the mercy seat. The one on the top is mercy seat, and that's actually gold. That is actually solid gold. Right? And then the sides, this side, the back side, and the bottom side, it's actually 1 and a half by 2 and a half. And there's 4 of these. Okay? One of them is the mercy seat. So do you see this? This is on one side, this is on another, on the top, on the bottom, and on the other side. This is on one side, and this is on the other side, okay? This is the sideboards. All right. All right. Do you see that? Everybody sees that? The perimeter end boards will be 6, right? 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Times 2, which is 12 cubits, right? The mercy seat and the bottom boards plus the 2 sideboards is 8. 2.5 plus 1.5 times 2 is 8, right? Times 4 is 32. So the total perimeter is 44 cubits. All right. Another interesting thing is that this 4 boards is actually one tall board of the side, because when you put this all 4 together, it's 10 by 1.5, just like the outside board. Right, and there's what? How many of that? There's 48. Right. So one of the 4 arc boards is a tabernacle board. When you look at that, right? Yeah, because this 4 of these put together, end to end, will equal 1 outside board. All right. Okay. All this minutia. Mm-hmm. So now these. You add all these together. 32 plus 64 plus 44 is what? 140. 140 cubits times 18 is 2520. You measure the arc.
So it's just like the perimeters.
Mm-hmm. 18, 1 cubit is 18 inches. It's hidden in there, and only for people who want to go and dig. Well, they actually find that everything is hidden there. Okay, what about that 49th board? There's a 49th board, right? Is there a 49 in the Bible? Yeah.
7.
Yeah, 49 is 7 times 7. And 7 times 7 is actually the cycle of 7. And that's 2520 right there. Because it's the first 49 years, right?
Yeah.
The first 49 years, 6 days, 6 years you will sow and reap and till and the 7th year is the rest. And after 7 cycles of that, the 50th is the Jubilee, right? So 7 times 7, all of that is all in the 2520, right? Because here, Leviticus, what I just did was I just summarized to you. 6 years, you sow and prune and gather. And on the 7th is the Sabbath. And because the 2520 principle is that you did not let the Sabbath, the land keep the Sabbath for 1/7 of that week. So for every 7 years that you actually did not keep the law, you are going to be scattered for 1 year. Because when you are taken out of that land for 1 year, now that land can rest. Because for that, okay? That's 25. That's the scattering and the gathering, right? This is what we already studied, right? Right? Yeah, this is all one set. So there's the 46 boards, 20, 26, and there's going to be 1 and 1. And the 49th board is part of the Ark of the Covenant. Okay? There's 48 tabernacle boards, 1 Ark of the Covenant board, right? total 49 boards. All right, here we go. Belongs to man. 6 years, 1 year. 6 years, 1 year. 7 of those, then you will have 42 and 7 is 49 years. These are the 49 years, and then the 1 year. The 49 years, that's the cycle. The cycle of sevens. Cycle of sevens that's the scattering and gathering. That's the principle of 2520. So all of these are all hidden in the tabernacle. All right. Oh, wow. And this is, the pioneers actually all figured this out already. They went and did it because they're the ones that were given they were supposed to understand the sanctuary, right? I couldn't believe it. Uriah Smith and Stephen Haskell did a whole bunch of this stuff. Right.
But it only works with our system of measurement.
Yeah, because the reason why, it was given to the Millerites in America.
Yeah.
It can't be given to the Europeans because to those in France because they're using the metric system. It doesn't work with yeah. And that at that time also there.
They done their part already.
That means the system in America is God's.
Can we start?
Yeah, God chose it specifically.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been by what? It had to be. It had to be. It was given to them. For them to actually see the 2520, you actually have to use an 18-inch cubit. Right?
The Advent movement started here.
That's why the Advent movement started in America. Okay, I think we will end right there. That's a little, yeah.
Tie this back to,
Right, we will tie it back. We will tie it back. Right, because the seventh angel, when you study about the seventh angel, you realize that the seventh angel starts in 1844. This is when the sanctuary, they understand the sanctuary.
that's why you
Right, that's when you realize the seventh angel starts in 1844, October 22, 1844. And this is when the sanctuary is righted. Measure the temple. You have to understand the sanctuary. This is when they started understanding the sanctuary. October 22, 1844. Okay? Seven angels, 7 trumpets, everything. 7 kings, 7 thunders.
And now when you read these things because all the prophets are speaking of the last days.
Mm-hmm.
So now when you hear measure the temple, it's like, in my mind before, I would just, well, that was for them.
Mm.
But now that's for us.
Oh, that's for us. We have to measure ourselves. We have to measure ourselves against the perfect temple because Christ is in us. Christ is in the temple. We have to measure ourselves. Now you understand what the actual meaning of that verse is. Okay. And
More sure work of prophecy.
okay. All right.